story that I want to focus on. Now, May 3rd is just 6 days away, less than a week away. We've seen, meanwhile, many migrant workers already getting more and more desperate as that lockdown 2.0 gradually comes to an end. Amidst reports that it could be extended, more desperate journeys today as people move to their hometowns in Bihar and UP from big metro cities. Today we saw people walking from Bhiwandi in Maharashtra who want to walk all the way to Uttar Pradesh. We saw it in Surat, where many of them actually took on the police. What really is the reason why migrants are getting more and more desperate? And why do they want at least basic train and bus services to go home? Today, India Today's Ashutosh Mishra spent an entire day in one migrant locality to understand the challenges these daily wage earners have been facing and just why they are desperate after May 3rd at least to go home. Take a look.
Desperate scenes, migrants in Gujarat, Surat, anxious to return home, hit the streets. While rumours led to stone pelting in Surat's Dindoli area, in another part of the city, 35 lucky people got transport to return home. There are lakhs of such migrant workers who have been left high and dry due to the lockdown. Locked down, isolated, totally cut off, without any earnings and food running short. Frustration is building among the migrant labourers. Dilip Kumar Arikshapula is from Bihar's Katihar district. He lives in his small house in Delhi's Okhla, Phase 2.
The area of this room is some around 5 by 6 feet, and these 4 have been living here ever since the pan-India lockdown was announced.
दो चीज में एक चीज उन्हें खाने मिलता है ना गांव भेजता है हम लोग तो यहाँ भूखे मर जाएंगे.
There is no piped water supply in this colony. Most of them get water in buckets from the nearby tube well. But the major concerns for these labourers is their savings, which are drying up fast.
ऐसा तो 3000 के लगभग बचा हुआ.
कितने दिन चल जाएगा?
ये तो 4-5 दिन तक चलेगा. अभी राशन भी खत्म हो गया, चावल भी लाना पड़ेगा.
फिर भी पैसा तो सबके पास बचा हुआ नहीं है.
Staying indoors with no work, they fight boredom. The day goes in cooking food, watching videos on mobile phones or playing cards.
ईट पत्ती खेलता हूँ हम लोग. खाना वाना खा लिए बना के अपना यही टाइम पास करता हूँ खेलता.
Most of these daily wagers are from Bengal or Bihar. While authorities have been advising social distancing, the term holds little significance here as people live cheek by jowl.
इतना तो जगह ही नहीं है, छोटा छोटा घर है.
कितना जगह शॉर्ट है हम लोग की वजह से, तो दूरी बना नहीं पाते हैं. मन में तो आता है कि पैदल ही चला जाऊं, लेकिन पैदल कोई साधन नहीं है, जाने नहीं देता है.
When we know that only constant is the change is constant, but as far as the life of migrants is concerned, only the date in that calendar right behind me changes. Nothing in life, their life remain how it has been. Particularly when there is a time of crisis, it becomes worst. With this ground report on migrant labours in the national capital, this is Ashutosh Mishra reporting for India Today.
So in rooms that are 5 by 6, you have 4 to 6 people living. Can you really practice physical distancing there? And therefore, I want to raise big questions. What happens to the migrant workers now after May 3rd if the lockdown continues? Should trains and buses at least be arranged for all migrants, not only for a few? Will moving migrants defeat the purpose of a lockdown? These are some of the questions I want to raise tonight. I'm joined by Dinesh Trivedi. He's a former railway minister of the country and an All India Trinamool Congress MP. Seshadri Chari is a long-standing BJP member. Nikhil De is founder member of the Mazdoor Kisan Shakti Sangathan. And I want to start with you, Nikhil De, because you can tell us really how bad the situation is on the ground. Because there are two contrary views we get. One, that there are migrants who are desperate today because of food. They are desperate because of just wanting to go home. And there are other views which is suggesting that the situation is exaggerated. It's not as bad as what the government says. What is the reality?
Rajdeep, as soon as there has been an opportunity, people have come out in huge numbers. So I don't think there can be a question that the reality is they all want to go home. We are people who have been going around meeting people everywhere, trying to do some kind of relief. Government is also doing relief. But what is relief compared to what people are saying that we want to desperately go home? It's no good standing in a line for many hours a day to get food twice a day. It is, as you have pointed out, packed into rooms where there is no physical distancing in any case. Every time, even without an opportunity, people have come out on the streets, and we have seen for ourselves, if we don't believe what we see with our eyes, that there are lakhs of people who are wanting to go home, desperate to go home, and we flew everyone else in from at great cost. And why can we not make arrangements for people to go home? They're not even asking for anything else. They don't want the food twice a day. They want to get home because they are desperate, and that's where they can actually get some kind of social support to be able to fight this disease as well, fight the pandemic as well. There have been people who have died. They have walked, Rajdeep. There are more than 300 people who have been documented as having died. People have died on the road. People have died of exhaustion. People have died of heart attacks. People have died because they can't get to the hospital. So there are many people who have died on the way. We have now in Rajasthan where they are trying to figure out how many people will come. There's a helpline. There are thousands of calls and that helpline is clogged. One thing that India can do is it can actually organize well to get people to another side. We organize elections. We organize. This is the least we can do with our working population who are our backbone.
So you're saying find ways in which post May 3rd they can be taken home, whether it's trains, whether it's buses, find ways in which they can go home. I'll come to you, Nikhil, again in a moment, but I just want to put some figures and numbers and get you, Seshadri Chari, to respond to that. Because there are 1.4 million workers residing in 26,476 relief shelter camps as of today. After nationwide lockdown, about 5 to 6 lakh workers reportedly tried to walk home. The Labour Ministry has compiled data of 1.8 million migrants. Do you believe that the system, as Nikhil De says, if India can organize elections, they can organize trains for migrants? If we can organize buses for students to go from Kota to their respective states, why can migrants, let's say from Maharashtra, not go back to Odisha? Or today, as we saw with protests, those in Surat want to go back to UP or want to go back to Odisha, those who work in diamond factories. Should we not organize trains, buses for them?
There can't be two opinions as far as migrant workers are concerned. It's a huge problem. They have to go back. If the migrants want to go back to their villages, I think the government should arrange for it. But the initial situation, the first 15 days, 20 days was very different. And now slowly things are changing. I think there should be a special purpose vehicle created by the center with the help of Labour Ministry and also the preferably Railway Ministry. Railway Ministry is the easiest. These are two ministries which central government can immediately organize. So Labour Ministry and Railway Ministry should immediately set up a special purpose vehicle, and this SPV should speak to each and every state. There are not migrants in all the places. Gujarat has got, Maharashtra has got, Tamil Nadu has got, and some of these states have got. So, what are the problems?
So you're saying the Labour Ministry, you're saying the Labour Ministry needs to work with the railway.
Let me complete.
Yes, go ahead.
Let me complete. I got two very important points to make.
Yes, go ahead.
The most important thing is, who is talking to the migrant? I mean, there is no point if a journalist from your organization goes and talks to the migrant. He is only creating more problems. The governments have to talk to the migrants, and local authority like Bombay Municipal Commissioner has to talk to the migrants. And then they should assure that, look, May 3rd is just 4 or 5 days away.
you will all be able to go back. There is a psychological issue also involved. And then with the help of state government, these migrants can be pushed back to the states, and the states which receive the migrants will also have to be prepared. Imagine 5,000 people converging in Patna tomorrow morning. What happens to Patna city? What happens to these 5,000 people?
That's a very good point. Positive. Mr. Seshadri Chari, that's a very good point. Let me take that to Dinesh Trivedi, because Mr. Trivedi, you're a former railway minister. Now, while Nikhil, they may say that we've got to make some arrangements for migrants to go home, the sheer numbers of them all will virtually, some say, render the lockdown that the lockdown will not be viable. If you have lakhs of workers who are then provided trains or bus services, the whole notion of physical distancing will go out of the window. Today itself, we are seeing people are walking kilometers, cycling at the moment, thousands of kilometers. That's a humanitarian tragedy. But what about the pressure on the system? Can the railways organize it?
So, Rajdeep, there are two issues. One is a country is known by how it treats its poor. And I told you in my last conversation with you that this lockdown was done at a panic reaction. The reason I say panic is only 4 hours were given. Now, bygone is bygone. But now we can use technology, and I don't think so. It's very difficult. Railway is one of the best organizations in the world. They are capable of distancing and making sure all the laborers, all the migrants get into the train. And I'll tell you how. Now, if you have this Arogya app, why can't you have a Mazdoor Sahyog app, and the local councillor and the local police station, they know each and every migrant laborer who's staying where, who's doing what, and you tell them that, okay, the first 300 will go by this train on this particular day from point A to point B. Having said that,
but sir, the numbers are more than 300. There are hundreds of thousands. Let me just give you a figure. The UP government has estimated 500 to 1 million migrant laborers are expected to return to Uttar Pradesh. Does the train? No, does our system?
Just given a.
Rajdeep,
I've just given a figure.
No, sir, I'm asking you, does our system have it? Does our system have the capacity to accommodate so many people traveling home?
Rajdeep, if you can let me just finish. I just gave you an example. I could have said 5,000. And railway is capable of running hundreds of trains. Please understand, they are very capable people. At the moment, all the tracks are absolutely free. In fact, they can use the freight corridors they were talking about. This is a time for them to use that. And what I'm trying to tell you is, every laborer, every migrant has a right to go to their family. If you can send aircraft to China, to USA, to England, to Germany, to Russia, I think these laborers can easily be accommodated in trains. You make sure that they go through all the tests. It can easily be done. It's a complex thing. The reason I'm saying easily be done, first you must have the will to do it. You cannot treat laborers like POWs or like virtually animals, what we saw in Agra.
So you're saying after May 3rd, May 3rd have a plan in place. You're saying after May 3rd have a plan in place for migrants?
No, not after May 3rd. You have the plan in place today and start making arrangements. Because if you don't make arrangement, I see the laborers getting frustrated, and I hope not. They have enough patience. They don't have food. Their families are far off. They can't get out. They are quarantined in such a way that there is no social distancing. Now, for heaven's sake, when we politicians go out to the poorer, we fold our hands and beg them for our votes. And these are the voters. These are the citizens of India. Please treat them with respect. I can guarantee you, first you must have the will that yes, we want to send them.
Okay.
Having said that, now the state also should be made ready to receive them. Because under NDMA, it's very easy for the center to give the diktat, but the entire implementation is done by states. So in consultation with the state, because when they land here, they need to be tested, they need to go to quarantine if need be. All those protocols has to be in place. And I guarantee you, given the capacity of the railways and the brains which India has, it's not difficult, it's doable.
You're saying, you're saying it's doable, but there will be questions, Nikhil De, about, if such a large influx of migrants is going to go into the villages, what happens to social distancing, to physical distancing, to the pressure that already exists on land, on families? These are questions that are also raised. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I agree that every Indian citizen deserves the right to go back to his or her home, but the pressures that will be created when lakhs of migrants then take those buses or trains after the 3rd of May, if they are opened up and want to go home, what happens then to physical distancing?
Rajdeep, we've had no physical distancing even now. I don't know why we don't recognize that these people where they are sitting, you've just shown a show where they are sitting 5 in a room, 10 in a room with no physical distancing. In their bastis, no physical distancing. In the camps, no physical distancing. So why don't we understand that if there's any chance of physical distancing for them, it's when they go back home where there's a little bit of space. You cannot hold them down. Even playing devil's advocate, if someone wants to get home, how long will you hold them under lock and key? Barred behind doors and barred behind other kind of places where they cannot get out, with the police stopping them from going out. One day they are going to go, not on 3rd of May, maybe on 15th of May, but they will go and they will keep breaking out.
You're saying they will go even if economic activity resumes? Let's assume I'm in a green zone, economic activity resumes. Are you telling me daily wage laborers would prefer today to go back to their villages at the moment?
They will go back once. Absolutely, Rajdeep. And if we think that we can hold them back, they will come back. They've come for work, but they've not come for these kinds of conditions. Some of them may stay back if that economic activity begins in a way that gives them dignity. But we've completely stripped them of their dignity. We have made them desperate to go home. Any human being, all of us, you, me, all of us wanted to be in our homes. They are the same kinds of human beings. And they deserve, and we have, it's only a question of political will.
Right.
And the whole arguments and logic is based actually on the fact that we are saying we can't deal with it. We have to deal with it. There is no question. That's what we are there for. And we had to deal with them with an equal amount of dignity, and we have the wherewithal to do it. And it's time that we showed we have that wherewithal, that we did it properly, that we treated them with as much respect as we've treated the others who come from all kinds of fancy backgrounds, that we put everything in terms of transport that we have. And actually, if we really care about coronavirus and distancing, then we make sure that they are well tested, that they are well treated all the way on the way there, that there is enough food for them, and that when they reach the other end, every village we can understand by going in. We have a Panchayati Raj system where we can say these are the number of migrants outside who want to come back to the village. That information can come to that state government. They can make arrangements and they can be treated properly as people coming back home, kept in quarantine or in a kind of isolation for the number of days that you want to in their village where they are secure with their people. Then they will come back to economic activity. Otherwise, the economy will also not recover. They will not hang around. You cannot force people to work.
I know. I take that. We've seen today images in Surat, and I'll play those images. We've seen images in Surat today. For the 3rd time in a month, migrants have come out on the streets, taking on the police. Many of them, as I said, are Odias who work as diamond cutters in the diamond factories. Others in Bhiwandi are power loom workers who are now walking today on their way to Agra. Do you believe that, Seshadri Chari, this has been the one weakness of the lockdown? It hasn't shown empathy for the poor. That has been missing. The word used by Nikhil De is respect the dignity of citizens.
These are all lofty words. We can all speak about dignity and other things. And I don't want to politicize this issue. The most important aspect is when the lockdown was announced, you think the government was very happy announcing the lockdown? Which government was happy? No state government, no central government was happy as far as the lockdown is concerned. It was forced on all of us. You and I are also part of this lockdown.
Yes.
So we are all in the same situation. The only thing is, as far as physical distancing issue is concerned, I think now the situation is slowly easing. It is not the same situation as it was on March 21st or March 25th or April 10th. Now things have really changed.
So you
And
also
that was a
support
very
train and
valid
bus
point.
services.
The
So
point-
you
the
support
point
train
was-
and bus
the
services for
point-
migrants.
See, I support, I suggested that there must be a special purpose vehicle. Tomorrow morning, the Prime Minister can call the Labour Minister and the Transport Minister and the Railway Minister, and he can say that by evening I want a special purpose vehicle. Speak to the state governments, and whoever wants to go to that particular village,
I
make
take
a
your
list
point,
of
sir.
it and send them back.
I take your point. I
And-
just have 30 seconds, Dinesh Trivedi. Do you believe that the onus is on the centre here? That the centre must take the first step?
No,
because
I
certain
think-
state
I
governments
think that-
like Uttar Pradesh have been very proactive. I want to know who should take very quickly the first step, because migrants today, there might be Bengali migrants today who are living in Mumbai want to go back to Bengal.
First of all, there are two things. If you cannot make arrangement for the migrants, make sure that they have enough to eat, they are somewhat comfortable, and don't even discount that some of them do have small agricultural land. Kharif crop is going to be sown. Maybe they want to go to their villages, and once they go, they can have their food, at least food is secure. So they have the right to be sent home. You have to work closely with the state. You can't give your dictate. The federal system is absolutely required. In consultation with the state, you have got to make some arrangement. Either they are comfortable wherever they are, give them enough food, social distancing.
You're basically saying this has to be centre and state coordination.
Give them respect.
Okay, I've got the point. Give them respect, give them dignity, give them at least the opportunity to go home. That we are showing you people, young kids with suitcases on their head, walking for miles. Is this the image that really we want to see of equal citizens of this great country? I leave it to you to decide there at home. Thank you very much for joining me.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.